hard to get that number.
The Biden crime family stealing the election. The media's covering it up. The Biden crime family stealing this election. The media's covering it up. The Biden crime family stealing this election. The media's covering it up. We want our freedom for the world. Give us our freedom, Joe Biden. Your Biden's covering up this election. He's stealing it.
Where were we? What was the last question?
Hello, everybody. Ace here, giving it to you straight with conspiracy realists. Today's episode is titled Trust the Plan, because I see a lot of fair weather believers and supporters freaking out over the last couple of days because of what's going down in our country right now. And I kind of want to bring a little insight onto what may possibly be going down from a bigger picture lens, so less people freak out, less people cry, get scared, run into their rooms, hide underneath their cupboards, do whatever it is they do when people go crazy. Today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about some 17 posts that are pertinent to what's happening right now. I'm going to pull up some articles about election experts rejecting counterfeit ballots, how Justice Kavanaugh allowed late PA ballots to be submitted, a video with Project Veritas and voter fraud exposed, an article about Trump falsely claiming PA victory, a little shy or too short, about 28.3 million unaccounted mail-in ballots, fake driver's licenses seized in Chicago, a blockchain U.S. Postal Service patent to try to help with the elections next time, and we're going to finish with an X22 Report video that kind of brings together everything. I just want you all to know that this is our time to shine, and the battle's just beginning, and I'm going to demonstrate that to y'all in this video today. So sit back, grab your popcorn, and get ready, because shit's getting crazy out there. So I want to start this episode off by going through one of these threads on Twitter from this man named David Burley, who really piqued my interest this morning when I was checking it out. I don't use Twitter a lot. It's a little overwhelming for me. You can get lost in the sauce really quickly, and I'm trying to stay present as possible. It's another reason I don't make as many of these videos, is because it takes me like 15 to 20 hours to do one, and it's overwhelming sometimes. So I'm just going to start making these videos to be a little easier. They're not going to be as well produced, I'd say, but I just want to get the information out there because there's so much censorship. There's so many accounts that have been removed, and I feel that a lot of people are freaking out right now, and I just want to kind of help ease their minds a bit by, depending on, I'll probably get like 200 views, which is fine. But anyway, so David Burley goes off by stating, consider that fact that Department of Homeland Security controlled official ballots production. And then the Dems printed extras, not knowing about the non-radioactive isotope watermarks on the official ballots. It was a military sting operation all along, and after weeding out all the counterfeit ballots, Trump landslide confirmed. And he had posted a couple of Q posts and all these things. I mean, a couple of 17 posts and all these things. And so I'm going to go through some of those 17 posts. This is 17 now. This is what I'm calling 17. All right, so the first one was from February 16th, 2018, and it says, there is no allegation in this indictment that any American was a knowing participant in this illegal activity, Rosenstein said. There is no allegation in the indictment that the charged conduct altered the outcome of the 2016 election, and he was referring to Russian collusion. Again, trust the plan because the future proves past. In an effort to preserve the integrity of all U.S. elections, as ordered by the President of the United States, after an extensive investigation into select counties, the sampling, the DHS has concluded that while Russian entities, as outlined within Special Counsel Mueller's investigation, were complicit in attempting to undermine the presidential election of 2016, had no direct impact or bearing on the outcome of the presidential election, nor were any U.S. persons knowingly part of such an attempt to sabotage it as it relates to the Russian investigation, U.S. and other foreign entities, as further described within DHS. Acting outside of Russian agents did attempt on numerous occasions and were successful in interfering with the presidential election of 2016. Senate elections of XYZ elections, whereby several million of illegal non-resident ballots, the irregularities, were counted, while legal ballots were improperly tabulated and or intentionally mishandled. We believe these actions were a coordinated attack against the democracy of our country. The DHS will be submitting a final report to the White House, DOJ, and other state and local agencies outlining our findings as early as March 2018. While this report only encompasses a sampling of 22 counties across the U.S., it is strongly suggested, based on evidence provided, that a mandated countrywide investigation begin under the recommended U.S. 50 EIC guidelines as set forth in Section 7 of the final report. Furthermore, based on our immediate findings, we recommend the adoption of AEFGH may be immediately to combat sources and methods currently being deployed to. The remainder of this page is intentionally left blank because they're currently being deployed to do exactly what they're doing in 2020. I found this article that I found really interesting, and it was from June 22nd of this year. Nonsense! Election experts reject Trump's claim that foreign countries could counterfeit millions of mail-in ballots. President Donald Trump delivered a new line of attack Monday in his crusade against expanded mail-in voting during the November election, warning that it could lead to foreign countries printing ballots to undermine results. You know, notice that President Trump is always telling us what he's thinking and doing, what they're thinking and doing, even what the Democrats are thinking and doing, and we still freak out. And that's the whole thing about trusting the plan, is we cannot freak out. We can't continue to allow the MSN to grab our egos and run with it and not realize that this is a 16-year plan, people. We're 4 years into a 16-year plan. We just ended the prelude. We just began Act 1. We haven't even gotten to arrests yet. We haven't even gotten to the indictments yet. So we need to breathe. We need to chill. We need to leave it to God because it's out of our control. Voting experts and elections officials swiftly disputed the claim, characterizing the warning as a bogus conspiracy and pointing to safeguards that states use to protect the authenticity of absentee ballots and envelopes. Absentee ballots, but not illegal ballots. Trump tweeted, "Rigged 2020 election. Millions of mail-in ballots will be printed by foreign countries and others. It will be the scandal of our times." Whoa, it's like this guy has a looking glass technology or something. Trump echoed a claim that Attorney General William Barr made during an interview on Fox News the previous Sunday when he said vote by mail absolutely opens the floodgates to fraud. Barr said right now a foreign country could print up to tens of thousands of counterfeit ballots, and it'd be very hard for us to detect which was the right and which was the wrong ballot. So I think it can upset and undercut the confidence in the integrity of our elections, which is incredible because if you look at when they called Arizona, when Fox News called Arizona, and Trump was up 14 basis points in Pennsylvania at that point. He was up almost 700,000 points. And Governor Wolf, Marxist Wolf, comes out and says how, wait, we have over 1 million mail-in ballots still, right? And I'm just, why are we doing this? Why did Kavanaugh allow Pennsylvania to mail in late? And it was all a setup because they knew that none of those ballots were going to have those watermarks on them and they wanted to catch them red-handed. Remember, Obama pardoned himself and everyone else before he left office at the beginning of 2016. He pardoned all of these criminals. And so over the last 4 years, Trump and the Patriots have had to find new evidence to try them for treason and sedition, which was not hard because that's all they are, is treasonous and seditious rats. That's a shame on rats. I wouldn't even call them that. Rats are actually very intelligent, loving creatures. These are just the Lizzies, as the Palladians like to call them. Okay, I'm going to go to this next one. This next Q post. Oops. I'm going to have to blank that. This next 17 post, right? November 11th, 2018. 1:36:43 p.m. This is the picture of the map. Oh, here we go. The map where illegal immigrants live perfectly overlaps the blue counties where Democrats vote. And this was from 2016. So this was the map that we had of all the Republican and red wave voting. And this is where all the illegals go and vote, especially in California. And what's even crazier is that California is still... It might go red this year once all the illegal votes are called. All right, so what does it say? What if the below could be proven? 1. Election plus Democrat Party officials filled out many thousands of blank ballots. 2. I can't say election, so I'm going to take that out. Voting plus D Party officials filled out many thousands of blank ballots. Voting plus party officials removed and destroyed legal ballots. and voting officials and party officials deliberately organized non-citizen voting. Elon Omar in Minnesota was caught telling people to, even if you're not a citizen, doesn't matter, go vote. And 4 is voting officials and D party officials in XX locations across the U.S. under lock and key stored many thousands of blank ballots for purposes of altering the vote total. But here's the key. Here's the thing that not many people understand. If we go back to the original tweet, what if Homeland Security had created a control for these official ballots production and they actually marked it so that they can track which ones are real and which ones were fake, so that when the voting and party officials come out and they bring out all these these new ballots that they've been stored that don't have those non-radioactive isotope watermarks on them, they can be found. Now, who safeguards blank ballots, and who issues blank ballots, and who controls the blank ballots, and how many blank ballots are generated versus total country population or total county population? Because there's several states that some of my buddies and my friends were telling me about, that there are some counties that there are more people who voted than there are people who live there, and I think they had over 1 million dead people vote in this election as well. So there's a lot going on, and our knee-jerk reactions aren't going to help the situation, especially if you believe in a collective consciousness. If we're pushing negativity, and that's what they want us to be in fear, they want us to be angry, they want us to be stressed. Because here it is, COVID's still not gone. They haven't talked about it in a couple of days because obviously somehow this is more important than a worldwide pandemic where everyone can die and our immune systems don't work anymore. But you got to understand that this is all working together to try to stress us out, to get us sick so that they can continue the COVID push. Because you got to understand, we didn't win the House, which means we get at least 2 more years of Democrat pushback. And that's where we're at. The control and issuance of blank ballots is key. Why did the same counties under dispute today refuse to turn over voter registration information upon request of the Voter Fraud Commission? Why was the Voter Fraud Commission disbanded and turned over to the DHS, Department of Homeland Security? What vested authorization does Department of Homeland Security have compared to a commission body? Let's open this article. It's from the Washington Post. And it says, without evidence, Trump and Sessions warn of voter fraud in Tuesday's elections. This was from last time. Okay. This is November 5th, 2018. President Trump and Attorney General Jeff Sessions on Monday, remember, trust Sessions, issued strong warnings about the threat of voter fraud in Tuesday's elections. Remember how crazy the 2018 elections were, especially for the House and the Senate, because they were already doing this stuff then. George Soros was already putting attorney generals in place. He was putting local municipality leaders in place. And this has been going on since 2018. That's why they were prepared for 2020, is because they let them kind of do their own thing in 2018. And then they were able to see kind of what they were doing. They put in place the plans in place over the last 2 years. And now they caught him red-handed. In a tweet early Monday, Trump said that law enforcement has been strongly notified to watch for illegal voting. He promised that anyone caught voting improperly would be subject to maximum criminal penalties. Sessions, in a statement laying out the Justice Department's plans to monitor ballot access on Election Day, said fraud in the voting process will not be tolerated. In remarks to reporters on his way to a campaign rally, that Trump also falsely claimed that voter fraud isn't commonplace. It's being caught is not commonplace. They've been doing this to our elections, I'm pretty sure forever, but at least since 1999. The Florida Chads, that was all set up. There wasn't a real election. We haven't actually had a real election since 1999 because we haven't had a real country since 1999. Check out Last Flag Standing on YouTube. I'll leave the link, by Russell J. Gould. The third and final bankruptcy ended in 1999, and because of that, that's what forced us into the Florida Chads and that 3-month recount, and they gave it away to Bush, who pushed us into, made 9/11 happen, and then 2003. We went to Iraq, we went to Afghanistan, 19-year war, complete destabilization, Marxism throughout the entire world, central bank abuse throughout the world, human trafficking's gone up, opiate abuse. I could keep going. I'm not speculating here. It's called conspiracy realists for a reason, because these are all realities, because future proves past. All right, so let's go to this article. Last-minute court wrangling settles fates of thousands of ballots. And this was written on November 3rd, 2020 by the KHN Morning Brief. President Donald Trump criticized the Supreme Court's decision Monday. This was Kavanaugh who made this decision. So the newest Supreme Court justice, other than Amy Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh voted to allow late voting in Pennsylvania. President Donald Trump criticized the Supreme Court's decision Monday allowing Pennsylvania to count mail-in votes postmarked today. And lawsuits in Texas and Nevada were also decided. Meanwhile, state election officials braced for record absentee ballots sent in by voters concerned for their safety during a pandemic. Political. Something must be done. Trump lashes out at Supreme Court ruling on Pennsylvania ballots. It will allow rampant and unchecked cheating and will undermine our entire system of law. It will also induce violence in the streets. Something must be done. USA Today. Twitter posts warning on President Trump's election. So Twitter is even censoring Donald Trump now. And New York Times, it's just crazy in Pennsylvania. Mail-in voting and the anxiety that follows. NPR, Texas drive-through ballots to be counted after federal court's ruling. So you get another 127,000 votes that we don't know where they're going to go. And what's so crazy is that James O'Keefe of Project Veritas just came out with a video. I think I have it. I believe I have it right here. Where, watch this. The sound might not be the best, because I still don't have this stuff figured out, the software and the technology and everything like that. It's still picking up my microphone and it's being weird, so I'm sorry for the poor sound, but it's only going to be 2 minutes. But it's very, very interesting and goes into what we were talking about before.
Tell us where you work.
I work in the Traverse City Post Office, more specifically the Burley branch.
Your boss told you and your colleagues something that shocked you this morning. What was it?
We were issued a directive this morning to collect any ballots we find in mailboxes, collection boxes, just outgoing mail in general, separate them at the end of the day so that they could hand stamp them with the previous day's date. Today is November 4th, for clarification.
Who is your boss, and what is his title?
Jonathan would be a direct supervisor, yes. As of right now, he is the opening supervisor for the Burley branch post office. So and this is anecdotal, carrier down in another office said they watched the postmaster doing it. If it were just a typical day, it would be clerks doing it up at the distribution center.
So 8 p.m. election day, November 3rd. The Court of Appeals ruled ballots have to be received by that time. And what were you told?
To separate them today so they could mark them with yesterday's date and send them through the express system to wherever they needed to go.
This appears to be an attempt to circumvent Michigan law and allow late votes. And you said there was a hamper where letter carriers were supposed to leave their ballots. Where are the ballots now?
They were putting them into express bags to go to the distribution center. In regards to a hamper, there's a standard hamper that all letter mail is supposed to go to, and they had a tub next to it that we were supposed to put any ballots collected today into.
Yes. What made you come forward?
That's sketchy. I don't like sketchy. It screams corruption. Also, knowing the post office's leanings politically, it didn't seem quite right.
What is your message to other postal workers who see things like this?
Report it. How are we supposed to have any integrity in this country if we're just going to let things slide based on a scaling issue?
Are you afraid of retaliation against you?
I've had whistleblower policies backfire on me in the past, so yes.
We'll have to reach out to Jonathan Clark for comment. Hey, is this Jonathan?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a reporter with Project Veritas, James O'Keefe here, and I have information that you guys have been stamping ballots with the previous date, November 3rd. He just hung up. He just hung up the phone on me.
So yeah. So that was James O'Keefe pretty much verifying what Trump and AG Barr and Jeff Sessions have been talking about. So now let's go to this article. Trump campaign falsely claims victory in Pennsylvania with hundreds of thousands of ballots not yet counted. Which was crazy because he was up by 700,000 votes. He's up at 700,000 votes around 7 or 8 p.m. And by 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m., when he came out and gave that speech, he was up by like 400,000 votes. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, around 5 a.m., an hour after he said, watch them come out with a bunch of votes, they find 450,000 votes, and now they're going to give it to Biden. President Donald Trump's campaign falsely claimed on Wednesday afternoon that the president had won Pennsylvania, even as hundreds of thousands of ballots had yet to be counted. We are declaring victory. The president had a 6-point lead in Pennsylvania on Wednesday afternoon, but Governor Tom Wolf said that as of midday, about 1 million mail-in ballots still needed to be counted. This is one of the countries they just stopped counting. All 7 blue counties that stopped counting ballots were all blue, and they were all going for Trump, and they just stopped it, especially Philly. Philly is a mess. President Donald Trump's campaign falsely claimed on Wednesday afternoon that he'd won that key battleground state. And basically that he had a 6-point lead and blah, blah, blah. This article just repeats itself constantly because these people aren't even capable of writing actual journalistic articles anymore. I'm going to see if I finished this. Did I finish it? Yes. Enemy at the front door. Okay. Final 17 post. Is this about the virus or the election? Manipulated polls meant to legitimize rigged election results. The election was not rigged. All the polls demonstrated Biden's clear lead across the country. Example. What happens if China successfully duplicates clone select ballots in battleground states? What happens if coordination exists with select states to deliver printing and paper ballot receipts? Recipes. Secrets to select adversaries. Nothing to lose. Logical thinking. What do we got here? Let's see if it's still up. Oh, yeah, it's just him just claiming it's 2020 rigged election. So what do we got here? Real clear politics. 28 million mail-in ballots went missing in last 4 elections. Between 2012 and 2018, 28.3 million mail-in ballots remain unaccounted for, according to data from the Federal Election Assistance Commission. This is from Real Clear Politics, and they wrote it April 24th, 2020. The missing ballots amount to nearly 1 in 5 of all absentee ballots and ballots mailed to voters residing in states that do elections exclusively by mail. States and local authorities simply have no idea what happened to these ballots since they were mailed. Sounds like the Pentagon in 2001. September 10th, 2001, the Pentagon came out and said, we don't know where $2.3 trillion went to the Senate Judiciary Committee. And then the next day, 9/11 happened, and then they never even investigated it. Nothing to see here. No corruption. Although there is no evidence that the millions of missing ballots were used fraudulently, I love how I just love the way every shitty MSM, lying, tyrannical newspaper journalist will go, although there's no evidence, these are the facts. And although that didn't happen, this is what really, they always preface it to like manipulate you. And although there's no evidence that millions of missing ballots were used fraudulently, we are concerned about it. Like, what? What is happening right now? It just fucking blows my mind. Sorry, I'm a little intense today. Yesterday was a really rough day. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't call anyone. I kind of just, I grounded. I ate really well. I spent some time in the sun. I was just pissed. I was pissed yesterday. And then I was watching Charlie Freak. And I randomly took it to halfway through his little 6-hour election night show he was doing. And he started talking about how we have to leave it to God. It's out of our hands. Trust the plan. This is bigger than us. And that's when I realized, okay, I can breathe. I mean, for me to expect for it to be given to us that easily, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Okay. Fake driver's licenses. Remember this story? The fake driver's licenses flooding into the U.S. from China? Where nearly 20,000 counterfeit U.S. licenses were seized at Chicago's O'Hare Airport in the first half of 2020, according to the report. Counterfeit documents are giving criminals a license to commit a host of offenses, including terrorism, U.S. officials say, and young adults who are lax with their personal information may be the biggest enablers. In the first 6 months of 2020, Customs and Border Protection officers seized nearly 20,000 counterfeit U.S. driver's licenses at Chicago's O'Hare Airport alone. Alone. And you think those are going to Republicans? You think those are going to go to the people who's voting for Trump, who work, who actually get driver's licenses, who actually do this stuff correctly? You think that's going to go to them to go to us? No. It's not. I don't need a fake ID. There's another awesome Forbes article that was written on September 20th talking about the U.S. Postal Service filing a patent for a voting system that combines mail and blockchain. I'm not sure if this is good or bad yet. I like the blockchain technology because you can't lie about it, and it's completely there for everybody to see. It's completely transparent. And so they published at the application by the USPS, the patent claims that a combination of the security of the blockchain and the mail service provides a reliable voting system. A registered voter receives a QR code by mail. A separation of voter identification and votes to ensure voter anonymity is the principal feature of the solution. The votes are stored on blockchain attested by election officials. Obviously, this patent is too late to be developed and deployed for this election. Do you see it, though? You got to see this as a movie, everyone. It's a movie. We won in 2017. I promise you. Well, we won when we voted Trump into office in 2016. But this is a movie. Okay? It's set up for as many people to wake up as possible. Think about how many Democrats who voted for Biden. Think about how many liberals who were all about everything that they're seeing, and all of a sudden they're realizing that the voting system's completely fake. It's completely false and fraudulent. It's a 16-year plan. It's a 12 to 16-year plan because we got to wake up as many people as possible. Because it's gonna be, people are gonna die from this stuff. They're gonna take their own lives. They're gonna drink themselves into oblivion. They're gonna drug themselves into oblivion, and they're gonna distract and they're gonna hurt themselves because the truth is too much to handle. Because we're not doing our shadow work. Those who are doing their spiritual work, those who are building a closer relationship with themselves and God, who are taking care of themselves, who are healing themselves, who are alkalizing their bodies and doing all those things, they're fine. They're moving into 5D. But those, even on the right, those even Trump supporters who were like, oh my God. And I was there for a couple hours, but then I started, get my senses back to me. I got out of my ego, I got out of my spirit, and I saw the big picture. And what's the big picture? No knee-jerk reactions, man. It's a long game right now. It's going to be intense. They're doing everything they can, and we're doing it the right way. So it's going to take longer. You got to have faith. Oh, I don't trust Trump. Trump's just a player. 17's just, it was a psyop. Blah, 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 blah. That's all I hear from the fair weather supporters, from the fair weather believers, from those who don't have spirit, from those who don't have God in their life. They may have religion. They may have spiritual ego, but they don't have God. They don't believe in something bigger than themselves. That's why they're fear. That's why they're separate. That's why they're in their egos. And that's what we're feeling right now. So if you're scared right now and you're freaking out and you're mad and you're doing all this and you're cursing and you're pointing your fingers at people and you're giving up and you're sowing doubt in other people's minds, you're the fucking problem. You need to chill out. We got a long game ahead of us. So what they're doing right here is they're setting this up, right? They're setting this up so that people are seeing this isn't going to happen again. It ain't going to happen like this ever again. And they're going to do it using blockchain and technology. That's going to be pushed forth over the next 4 years because we're not in a tyrannical, Marxist-controlled government that's going to basically push us back into before the Industrial Revolution and basically depopulate the earth slowly and surely. And so I just wanted to finish this up with the X22 report, because he did a really good job of explaining kind of what's going down.
Last night, the media got together and they failed to call big states that showed Trump winning. The president led in Florida, Texas for hours, but the media would not call these states for Trump. They did call certain states for Biden, and they did this very early on, and people were confused. So when you look at this, Trump, he won in many of the major states. Actually, there was a red wave landslide about to happen. So what happened here? Well, remember, in 2016, the deep state thought they had it. They were in control. There were no worries. Remember, Hillary Clinton said to Trump, will you concede when you lose? Because they didn't think Trump could possibly win in 2016. The deep state, they manipulate the election. They know they already had the popular vote in 2016, so they thought they were going to get the Electoral College. They were not prepared for what happened next. Trump blew them out of the water. They didn't expect that. This time, they prepared. They knew from internal polls they could not win this. They needed to manipulate the votes by using mail-in voting. This is what they've used. But as the country opened up and Trump said, listen, everyone go back to work. We can vote in person. There's no problem here. They knew the mail-in votes wouldn't be enough. So they put another plan into place. When people were voting during the day of the election, they would start calling out states for Biden, hoping that that would stop people from voting, that, okay, He won this state, so there's no reason to move or go forward with this at all. He's won, and that's that. But what happened is that when they called the state, the votes continued on. The people who were voting in person did not stop. And as the evening went on, and there were more and more red states, even though they didn't call it, like Georgia, North Carolina, it took a very long time for Florida. They were doing this on purpose. Well, Florida, they had a call because they ran out of votes and it was on Trump's side. The others, they were saying, okay, listen, this is all turning red. It's turning into a landslide. We need to stop it. And this is why at least 6 Democrat-controlled states took defensive measures to stop and delay the counting votes. And who helped them? They needed the mainstream media. Remember, before the elections, what was the New York Times saying? What was Twitter saying? What was Facebook saying? What was YouTube saying? The mainstream media, they're the ones who can call the election. This was set up from the beginning. Did Trump and the Patriots know this? Of course they did. Remember, we are witnessing the birth of a new nation. Do you really think the deep state, the central bankers, the corrupt politicians were just going to hand it to him? Go back to the founding fathers. That was a birth of a new nation. What did they have to do? Oh, wait, they fought in a war. People died. Did you really think that they were just going to lay down and say, Trump won, okay, we're done. Okay, arrest us. Did you really think that was just going to happen that way? Yes, we are witnessing a birth of a new nation. But when you're witnessing a birth of a new nation, and those who control the mainstream media and everything else, and the swamp is deep and wide, they're not just going to hand it over, because if they do hand it over, it's game over for them. Think about the founding fathers with the British government. The British government, they had discussions with the founding fathers. But what happened? They didn't want to give them control. They wanted to keep control. So what did they do? They fought. They came here and they said, we're not allowing this. The deep state is doing the same exact thing. They didn't go after Trump with this election. They went after each and every one of us. They tried to muzzle us. They tried to say, oh, you know what? These people don't count. I don't care what they say. We're going to rule it the way we want to rule it. That's what they're doing right now. Now, did Trump and the Patriots know this? Did they know their playbook? Yes. Q has told us this. Trump has said this many times. They already know this. This was done on purpose. I know you can't see it. I know it's difficult when you look out there and you see the mainstream media, and if you're watching ABC, NBC, MSNBC, CNBC, CNN, and all the rest, yes, they're going to make it as confusing as possible. That's their job. Their job is to run as a block for the deep state. Their job is to act as the bullhorn for the deep state. But when you look through this, you can see what is happening. This was done on purpose. How do you show manipulation? How do you show the people? Remember, the Great Awakening has not ended. This is just the beginning. The election wasn't the end. This is the beginning. Because after this, do you think when the arrests come, do you think the high-powered players are just going to sit back? You know, the people that you don't know behind the curtain? You think they're just going to be relaxed? Okay, arrest everyone. Of course not. This is a battle to the very end. When you look at the deep state, you understand the central bank, they will fight to the end, and they'll continue to fight until they're completely and utterly destroyed.
It's been spoken to us. It's been explained to us. It's been hinted to us. Trump's been talking about it. Sessions has been talking about it. Barr's been talking about it. Grinnell's been talking about it. Everyone's been talking about it, but we don't pay attention because we're just hearing things. We don't listen. You got to listen to the specific words they use. You got to see how they use it in context in a sentence. You got to go back into the boards. You got to look at previous posts. You got to look at this stuff again. You got to go back into the past, because the future proves past. It's a movie, everybody. We just finished the prelude. We haven't even started Act 1 yet. There hasn't even been an arrest. We need to chill out. And if you're sowing doubt in everybody's mind because of this, before it's all said and done, before we even had a chance to fight the good fight, then just log off. Go sit by a tree and spend time with yourself, because you're not helping anyone. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping anyone around you, especially those you love. And you're just causing more problems. It's called connected consciousness for a reason. If you're all negative, then more people are going to be negative. If you're more positive, more people will be positive. It's your job. It's the only job you got. Do your research. Don't listen to the mainstream media. Go dig into Twitter. Dig into the 17 boards. Dig into those YouTube channels that have 300 subscribers and get 1,000 views a video. That's where you're going to get your money. That's where you're going to get your news. You're not going to get that from anything anywhere else anymore. It's been taken away from us, and we're just going to give up because it's not easily had. It's not put in our laps. We're not babies, people. Grow up. It's time to unify. And if you're scared right now and you're done fighting, then go check out somewhere. Go. Don't even put your opinions out there for people to be manipulated by, because you're not helping. But for all you that see the movie, that see the plan, that trust the plan, that believe in the plan, let's go. It's the start, baby. It's crumbling. We're birthing a new nation. We're birthing a new world. We're birthing a new humanity, and we're a part of this. So continue researching. Continue feeding yourself with good food, hydrating yourself, getting out in the sunlight, speaking with people you love, creating in whatever way creating is for you. Create. When you're creating, you're in alignment with God. You're in alignment with the universe. When you have a lack mindset, you're scared and you're full of fear, it's because you're in your ego. If you find yourself scared and full of fear a lot, then you have a big ego and it's time to do the work. And so I hope this helps a little bit. I'm sorry if it was a little rough, but some people need to get slapped upside their heads right now because you're acting fools. And it's not time for us to act like fools. That's what the other side does. And that's what they want from us. They don't want us to necessarily lose or win or anything like that. They want us to see us fall. They want to see us crumble. If you don't have faith because you're spiritual ego, then you need to check that at the door and figure it out. And that wraps up another edition of Conspiracy Realists. If you liked what you've seen and heard today, please hit that like button. If you want to join the Army of Energy, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out more content like this, you can go to Conspiracy Realists at Instagram. And if you're interested in balancing some of your micronutrients and adding a little trace minerals to your diet, check out my dirt link. I'm on day 4 right now, and I have never felt better. And with that, I will leave this episode as is, and I will see you all on the flip side. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.